Is your silence worth the life of a child? Speak up. Report child abuse. Call the Office of the Children's Registry at 1-888-PROTECT or 1-888-776-8328. This year, the OCR celebrates its 7th anniversary as one of the lead agencies involved in the care and protection of our nation's children. And to expand its reach, the agency has opened a new office in Westmoreland to improve its effectiveness in safeguarding our children. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Audrey Williams. We have a whole lot lined up for you, so please stay with us.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Good day, I'm Carrie Ann Smith and this is your JIS News for Monday, January 20. Come April, the budget of the Program for Advancement through Health and Education PATH will be increased to $5 billion. That's a significant jump from the $4.1 billion allocated in the 2013-2014 fiscal year. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller made the announcement during the recent launch of the Digital Foundation's 10th anniversary celebrations.
My administration continues to make investments in people and social development, even as we pursue our necessary strategy of fiscal prudence and debt management. Yet, as government, we know that we cannot do all that is required by ourselves. We need socially sensitive corporate entities like Digicel to join us in this drive for national development.
The signing of an agreement between the All-Island Jamaica Cane Farmers Association and the Pan-Caribbean Sugar Company is the Agriculture Ministry's latest move to formalize the sale of sugar and molasses and establish payable prices.
What this means is that in keeping with the terms of the agreement, cane farmers, as represented by their association, trading under the name All Cane, have now legally granted permission to sell the sugar and molasses from cane delivered to their factories on the cane farmers' behalf.
Pan-Caribbean was appointed in 2012 as an agent of the Sugar Industry Control Act to market sugar and molasses products within Jamaica and elsewhere. The agreement covers the sale of these products from cane supplied by registered cane farmers. It establishes a level pricing index for cane to farmers who supply Pan-Caribbean factories and seeks to secure fair distribution of payment from the sale of sugar and molasses to farmers as determined under the Jamaica Cane Products Sales Limited. Regular meetings to discuss mutual concerns are to be held by a joint committee. A number of climate monitoring products and services have been developed to help Jamaica's agricultural sector cope with any climate-related challenges. The products were developed by the Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change in collaboration with the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. They include seasonal precipitation outlook, drought monitoring, and seasonal drought forecast tools.
The seasonal precipitation outlook is a climate predictability tool, referred to as CPT, which incorporates sea surface temperatures and it also predicts seasonal rainfall. Drought monitoring uses the monthly rainfall amounts to determine drought conditions in a station-by-station basis.
Minister Pickersgill says RADA extension officers and farmers are already evaluating the tools. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has called for a global effort to tackle climate change. Mrs. Simpson Miller's urging comes in the wake of extreme snowstorms and sub-zero temperatures for Jamaica's North American neighbors.
It is a clear indication that as a community of nations, we must pay greater attention to the issue of climate change, which is causing the world's weather patterns to vary so rapidly and extremely.
And finally, former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson has called on the private sector to aggressively pursue opportunities for sound, substantial investments of human and financial capital, which abound in sports and entertainment.
I believe there is tremendous potential, yet untapped, to translate our admirable reputation into hard dollars and cents for the country as a whole.
The former Prime Minister was giving the keynote speech at the recent RJR Sportsman and Woman of the Year Awards ceremony. At another function, the Minister with responsibility for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, said government, through its sport policy, had been forging partnerships with the private sector to increase the viability of the sector.
Our sports policy lends itself to coordinating these kind of partnerships. And I'm sure that as a government, we will continue to see others follow suit.
Minister Nita Headley was speaking at an event to mark the signing of a sponsorship deal between Grace Kennedy Money Services and national swimmer Alea Atkinson. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Carrie Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.
It's important to store water during periods of drought. It's even more important to ensure that the water is safe. Boiling and treating your water with bleach are two of the best ways to purify water. If you choose the boiling method, allow the water to boil for 5 minutes, cover and let it cool. Store boiled water in a clean, airtight container and use something with a handle to take out the water when needed. If you use bleach to make your water safe for drinking, use 2 drops of bleach to a liter of water, 8 drops for a gallon, and ½ teaspoon of bleach for 5 gallons of water. Shake well and leave for half an hour before use. Water is essential to a healthy life, so ensure yours is clean and safe for consumption.
Ensuring food safety and security, increasing production to meet local and international demands, restoring dignity to the farming community, and multiplying the output of the fisheries sector, just some of the major preoccupations of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries in calendar year 2013.
5% growth in agriculture and fisheries for the January to September quarters. Sugar Barracks relocation project takes life. And agro-parks producing our way to food security. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries making major moves in 2013. Topping the 2013 agenda for Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Roger Clark was reducing the country's high food import bill in support of government strategy to achieve fiscal prudence and a credible economic program.
We are going to get out there and produce, to feed ourselves, to export, and to make sure that that $1 billion import bill for food in this country is cut down to a manageable level.
Among the initiatives to make that happen, grow import substitute crops. Sorghum was identified as a substitute for grain in animal feed. The ministry partnered with investor farmers to dedicate several acres of land for its production. As the ministry worked to cut the food import bill, farmers were also assisted and encouraged to produce greater volumes of the traditional and non-traditional crops to supply local demand. The flagship initiative was the development of 9 agro-parks. 3 became operational during the calendar year. Onions, scallion, pepper, assorted fruits and vegetables, yam, ginger, hay, sorghum, and other crops are now in full production at Planted Gardens in St. Thomas, Amity Hall in St. Catherine, and Ebony Park in Clarendon.
I must say that I am reasonably satisfied about the progress we have made, understanding that we've virtually started from scratch.
The other 6 agro-parks are expected to come on stream by 2014, and preparations are on in earnest to meet this deadline. The Agriculture Ministry also targeted a greater share of the local Irish potato market. A $68 million project was launched in October to assist farmers with crop care and position them to benefit from improved market access. The sector now produces 80% of local consumption, with the aim to achieve 100% by 2015. Through partnership, the ministry also provided training and seeds to produce 2 hectares of a new variety of the crop to supply the potato fries market, which relies heavily on importation. Economic growth is one of government's 5 strategic priorities for the 2013-2014 fiscal year.
When we eat what is grown locally by our local farmers, we support them, increase their incomes, increase their ability to care for their families, expand the economy of their local rural communities, and consequently expand the growth of the wider national economy.
So, in its 10th year, the Eat Jamaican campaign was revved up. Policies were also implemented to secure consumer confidence in local produce.
The National Food Safety Policy and Implementation Plan, which provides the framework for the installation of the requisite legal institutional framework and infrastructure to secure public health through the delivery of safe foods for both local and export consumption.
The Food and Nutrition Security Policy was also approved by Cabinet on February 25. The activities of the Agriculture Ministry in calendar year 2013 were also driven by a strategic policy to increase production across the board for the export market. When drought conditions early in the year threatened to derail those efforts, the ministry rolled out a $45 million crop production program to maintain the availability of high-demand crops. Irrigation facilities were also commissioned to pump water to farming communities in Duff House, New Forest in Manchester and other areas across the island. And to build a disaster-resilient sector, the Food and Agriculture Organization provided a $30 million grant to assist St. Thomas and Portland farmers affected by Hurricane Sandy. To ensure that farmers get their produce to the markets, the ministry initiated a stakeholders workshop on perennial larceny. A way-forward action plan is to be drafted from those talks and taken to Cabinet and Parliament. Sugarcane continued to be an important part of the country's export portfolio, and a massive planting exercise was implemented during the year. Through the Cane Expansion Fund, 8,000 hectares of new land was earmarked for production. Of the $4 billion needed, close to $2 billion was placed in the fund in 2013. Meanwhile, over 44 kilometers of cane roads in 6 parishes were identified for rehabilitation under a contract valued at more than $404 million.
This project will improve the efficiency of cane harvesting operations in our sugar sector and reduce the significant post-harvest losses, which are estimated at 3% of national cane production.
The Fisheries Division also received much-needed attention in 2013. Through a $10 million pilot project, the industry is now ready to benefit from the production of silver tilapia freshwater fish for local and overseas markets. And to standardize the production of ornamental fish, a manual titled Jamaica Ornamental Fish Quality Assurance Program was crafted and presented to the ministry. This manual is designed to guide, standardize, and certify the operations of some 100 fish farmers and put them at an advantage to tap into the $400 million export market. A bill which sets out to protect the sector from imports was passed in the House of Representatives in July. It looks to secure our waters from foreign poachers.
At the end of the day, the process must be efficient and effective, both in terms of cost and results, by ensuring that foreign poachers, when caught, are dealt with expeditiously and decisively in our courts, and moreover, they are dissuaded in the strongest way possible from poaching in our waters.
Be they fishers or farmers, in 2013, government was also concerned with meeting the social needs of those who feed the nation. The administration's efforts resulted in groundbreakings for several developments under the Sugar Barracks Relocation Project, designed to resettle 876 residents of Sugar Estate Barracks in 400 newly constructed housing solutions at 7 relocation sites. The work is near completion at 3 of the 7 sites. The other 4 are at advanced infrastructure stages. The project is being funded by the European Union at a cost of $1.4 billion. Substituting import crops, supplying the local demand. encouraging consumption of local produce, exporting more, multiplying fisheries output, and effecting social inclusion. A strategic successful plan of action for the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries in calendar year 2013. It supports fiscal prudence, job creation, and economic growth.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Nadine Newsom. Today, we continue to explore issues related to insurance, and my guest is Rosemary Henry, Senior Director of Insurance with the FSC. Welcome to the FSC Minute, Ms. Henry.
Thank you, Nadine.
Ms. Henry, how do I verify who is a sales representative?
Registered sales representatives are required to have a valid identification card or registration certificate from the FSC. Where these are not available, the sales representative should have a letter under the signature of the registrar of the FSC indicating that they have been approved and the class of business that they can sell. If you are in doubt, contact the FSC.
Ms. Henry, my insurance sales representative is suggesting that I surrender an existing policy in favor of a new one. Should I do this?
You should think carefully before doing this. You should ensure that you are exchanging your policy for one with additional benefit that is better suited to your current circumstances. Also keep in mind that sales representatives who suggest the person to surrender their policy and purchase a new one for the benefit of the sales representative may be guilty of an offense. These persons may also be declared not fit and proper to sell insurance business.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. My guest today was Rosemary Henry, Senior Director of Insurance at the FSC. For the FSC Minute, I am Nadine Newsom.
Join government's fight against crime, seize opportunities in tourism, and embrace more public-private partnerships. This is Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Samantha Allen.
We need to stop covering the wrongs. We need to take on this monster. We need to assist. Government must play its part. But there's a big role for communities.
That was Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller's emphatic call for Jamaicans to play a deeper and greater role in stamping out crime. At the launch of Digicel Foundation's 10th anniversary event, the Prime Minister said eradicating crime was everybody's business.
None of us can be satisfied with the level of crime. But it's not just about the government and the security forces. Communities must join hands together so we can destroy this monster plaguing our country at this time.
While at the function, Mrs. Simpson Miller also announced that budgetary allocations for the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH would move to $5 billion in the upcoming financial year. That's a significant increase from the $4.1 billion provided in the 2013-2014 financial year. And the Prime Minister is calling for greater partnership between the public and private sectors to achieve the country's development goals.
My administration continues to make investments in people and social development, even as we pursue our necessary strategy of fiscal prudence and debt management. Yet, as government, we know that we cannot do all that is required by ourselves. We need socially sensitive corporate entities like Digicel to join us in this drive for national development.
At the start of the week, Mrs. Simpson Miller urged the Caribbean tourism interests to take advantage of the enormous potential for growth that's available in the sector. At the start of the 3-day Caribbean travel marketplace in Montego Bay, the Prime Minister told tourism players not to shy away from competition. Arguing that the Caribbean community's vision of tourism was clouded, Mrs. Simpson Miller called for innovation to boost the region's competitive advantage.
So to compete effectively, policy must be innovative and strategy must embrace concepts of sustainability as reflected in Jamaica's tourism master plan.
As an example, the Prime Minister pointed to her government's introduction of a tourism linkages hub which connects the sector to other industries within the Jamaican economy. Mrs. Simpson Miller also told the gathering of the country's use of airlift agreements, improvements in the ease of travel, increases in hotel rooms and road infrastructure to boost the tourism product. Locally, the Prime Minister thanked the various players, including tourism workers and investors, for their role in the island receiving over 2 million visitors in 2013. She promised even greater numbers in 2014. On Tuesday, Mrs. Simpson Miller attended the 34th National Leadership Prayer Breakfast. During the breakfast, Mrs. Simpson Miller and the Leader of the Opposition received a special prayer from keynote speaker Bishop Dr. Delford Davis. Held under the theme Courageous Leadership in Challenging Times, the prayer breakfast brought together leaders from all spheres in the society. Donations received by the Prayer Breakfast Committee this year will benefit the committee for the upliftment of the mentally ill, a St. James-based charity. Before closing out her week of engagements, Prime Minister Simpson Miller expressed a deep sadness at the passing of Sport Administrator C. Lloyd Allen. In a statement, she remarked that Jamaica had lost one of its finest and most efficient sports administrators whose contribution to the development of sport was unquestionable. The Prime Minister sent condolences to the family, friends and sporting fraternity who mourned Mr. Allen's passing. C. Lloyd Allen played a leadership role at many sporting bodies, including the Boxing Board of Control, the Commonwealth Caribbean Lawn Tennis Association and the Institute of Sports. And that's how we end this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. We return next Monday with highlights from the latest assignments coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
This administration knows that good, responsible governance is the key for strategically managing our water resources. Small-scale storage at the household level, decentralized harvesting and storage of rainfall are some of the components of this new rainwater harvesting policy. New features of the Town and Country Planning Bill will include the extension of the Act to our territorial waters. The slogan of my ministry is Partnering for Sustainable Development.
The Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change. The 2013 year in review inside Jamaica Magazine.
It is often said that the road to development starts with the development of roads. And so the administration continues to focus on infrastructure, making improvements such as the new Kintyre Bridge, which serves communities in both East Rural and Eastern St. Andrew. It's the latest development in a broader plan to improve infrastructure.
Communities cut off from the rest of St. Andrew. Lives disrupted. And a veil of despair covering residents. But all that has changed with the opening of the newly built Kintyre Bridge.
Today is a good day and a day of restoring hope to Hope River.
From as far back as 1988, when Hurricane Gilbert ravaged the island, residents of East Rural and Eastern St. Andrew who use the Kintyre Bridge have often been affected when there's heavy rainfall. Several times over the years, most notably 2008, 2010 and 2012, the Hope River overflowed its banks, destroying the only bridge which allows vehicular access to the community. In 2013, the government stepped in to fix the perennial problem once and for all. The $100 million bridge became a reality through the joint efforts of the National Works Agency (NWA) and the Jamaica Emergency Employment Program (JEEP).
As we officially open this bridge today, I hope that it serves as a reminder, not just today, but for many days, for the extraordinary effort that has been made by many people to build a structure in which everyone can share.
As the most essential route used by residents of East and East Rural St. Andrew, the opening of the Kintyre Bridge has brought happiness to the residents who for years say they've lived in fear of the rainy season because of the destruction it usually brings.
We're happy, the entire Tavern community, especially Kintyre close up there, we are happy for the bridge because normally when storm and stuff, the water normally come over on the road, so basically it even washes a couple houses from up there.
We all feel grateful for this opportunity here because we had a lot of trouble with flooding all this time. So we had to plead very much.
The members of parliament were equally grateful for the construction of the bridge.
The bridge I'm happy for because it will open up many opportunities to Kintyre as a community.
It has always been the interest of the Tavern community, which I represent, to have this bridge built because Tavern and Kintyre is one community.
The care and protection of the newly installed infrastructure was on everybody's lips.
I call on all well-thinking members of this community and others around the country where millions of scarce dollars are used to put in much-needed infrastructure to help protect these investments. I know you will, as you did during the construction.
I want to encourage the citizens to mobilize their community to maintain the new infrastructure and to preserve this bridge and the environment.
Don't abuse it. Make sure that it is used for what it's supposed to be for.
Let's protect the bridge. Let's care for it.
We look forward to you using it as it should be used, protecting it as it should be protected.
Residents of Tavern, Bedwood Pastures, Clark Street, Hope Flats, Cosmo Muse, St. Joseph's Road, and surrounding areas can now breathe a sigh of relief with the new bridge over the Hope River.
Your time has come to breathe a sense of relief. Your time has come to take comfort in the fact that regardless of the rage of the flood waters below, you will remain connected with the rest of us.
Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down.
And that's how we draw the curtains down on today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Have comments or queries? Email us, jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm, or join us on Twitter @JIS News. If browsing is more your speed, view our Facebook page, facebook.com/Jamaica Information Service. If you've missed this or any other magazine program, view the shows in full on jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Audrey Williams, reminding you that the care and protection of our children is everybody's business. So get involved today.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.